If you're planning on setting New Year's resolutions for 2025, then you probably hate yourself. And I would argue that proceeding into a new chapter, a new year, with hate as your mental state is probably not the best idea. You want to proceed from a positive place of love and kind of enthusiasm and optimism. So my friend introduced me to this idea of people hating themselves. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll notice it in yourself and in kind of people around you. And you'll also see it in some of the top influencers. You might follow these and kind of get motivation from them. But once you see it, you start questioning people's motives and kind of what's driving them. So this is something worth noticing. So this is probably quite an easy concept to get your head around. If you're setting a New Year's resolution, it's because you want to change something. You don't like what it's currently been and you want to change it. So you have to hate it. Do you know what I mean? So say your New Year's resolution is to lose weight. This year you weighed more than you wanted to. You're fat, you're overweight, so you hate yourself. And you think, if I set a New Year's resolution and can actually achieve it, I'll love myself. But what you'll find is it's like the mouse on the treadmill. You never get there. So when you achieve that, so say you've been fat your whole life like I was, you think, when I get abs, if I get visible abs, that's a sign that I've lost enough weight and I'll love myself. But you don't. You'll get there and then you'll want something else. It's just perpetual. So that's why it's a bad frame of reference. But it's obvious, if you don't have as much money as you'd like, your New Year's resolution might be to make more money. So you hate your current situation and you would like to gain this other situation. So I think that's obvious. So the place you can see this is in the gym. If you look at people, they're in the gym like beating themselves up. They're doing penance, like I've mentioned in a previous video. You look around, these aren't people that love themselves. They have demons. So I saw the most depressing clip the other day. Sam Sull, I like his YouTube videos. I think he's very charismatic and it's just good to watch. He's very entertaining. But I saw a clip of Cutler, which is a bodybuilder from back in the day, and Sam Sull. So Sam Sull's posing in the mirror. Bearing in mind, he's just grafted in the gym. He's done a load of steroids. He's in great physical shape. A lot of men would like to have the muscles this guy has. And Cutler is like coaching him on how to pose. And Cutler says to him, he was like, oh, so you're 10 weeks away from your competition. You look good, but you need to start ramping it up. I think, what, like, this guy has just been grafting it. He's done steroids. He's gone above and beyond what most people are capable of doing. And because they both hate themselves so much, Cutler obviously hates himself. He has to say, he can't just go, your physique looks good. He has to go, you need to do more. Always need to do more. And then on the day, when Sam Sull's competition ready, Cutler would still have to say, do some push-ups get a pump before you go out on show, because it's all about competition. It's all about beating the next guy. And it's just a competition of who hates themselves more. And the one that hates themselves the most wins. Because if you're satisfied, like me, I'm not going to win a bodybuilding competition because I actually love myself. And I've learnt this the hard way because I was always overweight and I did hate myself. I hated the fact that, you know, you'd get sweaty when it's hot. It's just not, being overweight is kind of anti-survival. It's not attractive, and I knew that. Then I lost a load of weight through hating myself, and this is the gift and the curse with it, is because it actually works. If you hate yourself enough, you'll get the result. But then what you'll learn is when you get the result, it doesn't make you love yourself. You still hate yourself, just you'll use something else. So I was overweight, didn't like it, hated myself enough to go into the gym and diet in a certain way, lost the weight, got abs, and nothing changed. So now I can be whatever weight. I could be massively overweight and I would be as confident because I've learnt the lesson that it's not tied to the achievement. So these guys, these bodybuilders, my friend calls it the Hosi demons. You know, people say, and this is, you'll notice this on like your TikTok feed, when you see the motivational video, it might be the winter arc or whatever it is, the guy gets rejected by the girl, hits the gym, gets massive. That's like what happens, that's what men do. But did it actually, do you love yourself anymore? No, you're still the broken person that you started off as. So these New Year's resolutions, and I think this is why most New Year's resolutions fail, is because you're proceeding from hate. You hate yourself, you hate your situation, you hate whatever it is that you're trying to change. So when you look in the gym, are these a bunch of positive, happy people? No, they're broken, depressed. That's why they're in the gym. The problem is, it, like I say, it does work to some degree. You do feel better, you get endorphins when you work out, you feel better when you eat clean. But the underlying essence is that you hate yourself, and no matter how much you work and achieve, that's not going to go away. So the reason my friend calls them the Hormozy demons is, if you check out Alex Hormozy, he's a businessman, he's also hench, he's on steroids, I'm guessing. But the guy, I don't know how much money he's got, his physique's great, he's obviously got money, he's got a wife, but it's never enough. He's just keep going, and it will never be enough. What will fulfill that guy, I don't know. And whenever he pops up on my feed, or I go through his tweets sometimes, and they just read like, it's just steroids and hating yourself. That's all I see now when I see him. Like, it will be something like, people say just do your best, but sometimes your best isn't good enough. And I don't know how you physically do more than your best. So say we're talking about in the gym, physically as a human, you can only lift so much, and when you're exhausted you have to rest and recover. So if he's saying sometimes your best isn't good enough, the only way to exceed that is to do steroids. You know, you can lift more if you're enhanced. So, you know, that's not a healthy mindset, I don't think. Your best is good enough. As long as you're doing your best, I don't physically see how you can do any more. You know, if you've worked on your business for there's only 24 hours in the day. You see these top like influencer people saying, I manipulate time, and no, there's 24 hours in a day, you do your best, and that's it. You can't physically do more. So if you recognize that, you say, oh yeah, every year I set the intention, it's because I don't like how I look, or whatever it is. So that's the frame of hating yourself. But I would argue you hate, and this is where like I'm seeing stuff in a more religious frame now, you hate the sin. You don't hate yourself, because the you that wants to get you in the gym, and the you that wants to improve you, is a loving you. It's not because you just unalive yourself, or you just wouldn't bother. You'd eat Ben and Jerry's until you're massive and die of a heart attack or something. You do deep down love yourself, but the act of going in the gym and doing these things is hating yourself. So the fact that my friend noticed this, and he's a very grounded, well put together person, you know, in every aspect, but he said, I was going to the gym 6 days a week, so I must have hated myself to some degree. And the fact that he could recognize that in himself was quite impressive. And same for me. So now we don't go to the gym as much. So it's tricky, because the hate that you feel does motivate you to get you in the gym. So what's the answer? It's not you that you hate, it's the sin. So something you've done something wrong that's caused the outcome. So you don't hate yourself, you hate the fact that you've eaten food that you shouldn't be eating, or too much, and now you're overweight. But the food has been engineered to be very addictive, so it's not actually your fault. The reason I like the Catholic perspective on this is because it's been around for thousands of years, and they've refined it and solved a lot of these problems. So if you think about the Father, you know, it's the our Heavenly Father. If you have a father, you don't want to disappoint him, do you? If you do things that sabotage yourself, you feel guilty for it. So it's the guilt that you hate. You hate the fact that you're overweight because you've done these sins, you've done these things wrong. You hate the fact that you don't have enough money because you're spending on things you don't need. So if you just go down the list of the 7 deadly sins, sloth, you're forcing yourself to go in the gym because you hate the fact that you've been lazy and slothful. You don't hate yourself, you just hate the the outward representation of, but what I'm saying is these are all mindset issues. You don't hate yourself. So the way I would go about it is you have to cultivate self-love, and that isn't done by beating yourself up in the gym, going in the cold shower, all these painful activities, fasting, starving yourself. The way you cultivate self-love is sit without any distractions and really consider who you are as a person and where you stand morally. So it's the sins you hate. So you need to stop sinning. And in doing that, you'll cultivate more self-love and be proud of yourself. So these are all Catholic concepts. So sit and meditate and do a form of confession. Write a deep journal. It's not me I hate, so what is it I hate? I hate the fact that I'm eating foods I shouldn't, even though I know. Well, they're addictive, so it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to solve the problem. I hate the fact that I spend money on things I don't need, but you're working all these hours and your life is very stressful, so you're rewarding yourself. So that's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So all these things you can work your way down and go, oh, it's not actually me that I hate. I don't like the fact that this relationship didn't work out and now I'm beating myself up about it. So, but I just see, and it's guys on steroids. I think you don't want to go, if you get that far, you've already kind of made irreversible changes and it's never going to satisfy. So I'd be mindful when you set your New Year's resolutions. I think having goals and striving for things in life is obviously beneficial, but proceed from a place of love. You love yourself enough to go to the gym, but you have to already, basically, if you're overweight, you have to accept and be grateful for who you are already. And it's a form of presence. So the only spiritual teaching in all of the religions is presence. It's being present, accepting the present moment exactly as it is. Unless you can do that, you're never going to get to a future where you can do that, if that makes sense. So if you can't accept who you are right now, the overweight version of yourself or the person that's got no money, the slim or rich version of you, it's going to be no different. And you have to achieve these a couple of times to realize this. You have to go from being overweight to being with abs or whatever it is. You have to go from being broke to making money to realize it's not going to work. Unless you can be present, accept the present moment exactly as it is, and actually love your current situation, no future situation is going to satisfy. I'm just checking where my dog is. So I don't really think I've given you an actionable step for this one, but I would just say be mindful of how you proceed. And you want to proceed, unless you love yourself, no amount of goal setting and achieving is going to change that. So sit, meditate, and deep journal. And it's probably the sins. If you're sinning, if you're doing any of the 7 deadly sins, that's a good place to start. Hope this helps. Have a good day. See you in the next one.